Today I'm going to paint a wreath with fall colors. Maybe you've already painted an evergreen wreath with me, or maybe you've painted a spring flower wreath. Today it's going to be just fall berries and a couple flowers and some leaves and a couple of pumpkins at the bottom, which I think will be fun. So first, I have this bowl. It's about 8 inches in diameter. I'm going to trace it really lightly at the bottom just to give me a guide. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It helps me for sure to kind of stay in a circle shape. This paper is 9 inches across, so something that's about 8 inches in diameter is great. You could trace a plate or a flower pot, or you could just draw your own circle shape, or you could wing it. It really is up to you. So I'm gonna start by painting a couple of pumpkins at the bottom here, and I'm gonna draw those. Maybe you did the pumpkin tutorial last month. If you did, you kind of know the drill. I'm just gonna do a quick painting. Remember, you can hit the space bar or push pause while you're getting this part set up for yourself. I'm just gonna draw the ribbing, the pumpkin shape. If you didn't do the pumpkin tutorial with me last month, you should probably, if you found this video on my website, you'll find a couple of, like a pumpkin and a gourd tutorial there. Might be worth watching if you feel like it. I'm not going to go into detail about how to make a pumpkin here, because it's all there already. Make it maybe a tall pumpkin and a shorter one. Maybe I'll do a couple of these. You know those little teeny kind of corkscrew things that come off the vine, kind of the creepers that help hold the pumpkin on? Let's see, I don't like this back part here. Okay, now I'm gonna draw the kind of the basics of the wreath. I'm gonna have a branch that comes up on both sides that just follows this line basically, and about halfway up. And then we'll put leaves off of each of those. We'll do a flower here, and I'm gonna put the flower on the right-hand side just a little bit lower. And more leaves. And then probably another branch up here that has some berries, and they'll come together and touch. And maybe we'll put a couple sprigs of berries here too. I don't want it exactly the same on both sides, but similar. Okay, let's mix some colors. So I know I want at least 2 shades of orange. So I'm gonna get my lighter orange wet. Some of that in here. And this darker orange too. If you don't have this same palette, you can make a lighter orange just by adding a little bit of yellow, or add yellow to orange until you get a color that you like. Okay, and then that same orange, but I'm gonna add some red to it. And I'm gonna do the light orange with a little bit of white also. I want a real pale color. I'm gonna do even more. And then I want some yellow for the pumpkins. And I'm gonna do one more that is orange and brown. Okay, let's do the pumpkins first. And then while the base coat of that is drying, we can move on to some leaves and branches. So I'm gonna do yellow for the pumpkins, and I'm gonna try and leave a little white space kind of in the centers of each of the fronts here. This one I already painted over, so it's not gonna get it. That's okay. And same for this. I'll make the white spots first and then paint the rest. Maybe I'll make one on this side too. Okay, let's do the branches going up the side. I'm gonna do this orangey brown. And I'm just gonna try and do a real thin line just right on top of my pencil line. I'm getting close to the pumpkin, but I'm not gonna touch it. Okay, I'm gonna go up a little bit too with the same color, because if I run out of this color, I don't wanna have to remake it and match it. So put this up here. And then at the very top is gonna be the last leaf on these branches. So I'm just gonna do that one now. I'll just use this bright orange color. And for these leaves, they're kind of long and thin, so I'm gonna just barely touch my brush where I want it and then press down and then lift up. Put a little more paint in it. And I think I'll do one going this way too. Press down and lift up. I'll do that over here. It's a little bit close quarters. Okay, I'm just gonna keep doing that now all the way along, but varying the colors a little bit. I'm gonna do some that are a lighter orange. might just drop a little bit of that orange color in to help give these a little more tone. And then I might drop a little of the red color into the, or that orangey color into this pale orange before they dry. I'm trying to taper it when it comes to the stem so that it's kind of forms a stem of each leaf, so it gets real thin. It's not gonna happen perfectly each time, but that's my goal. Let's see. I'm not gonna get too close to this place I'm saving for a flower because I don't want to bleed into it, and I don't totally know how big that flower is going to be yet. So I'm saving just a little bit of room, and then I can make more leaves around it later. These aren't meeting each other perfectly symmetrically. I don't really want them to. So I'm trying to vary where they come on, where they attach to the branch. Okay, this is just pure orange now that I'm dropping onto some of these. I'm just gonna keep going now with this light color. I like it. Sometimes it's easier to start at the end of the leaf like that, like this. If I don't have the space or I can't kind of get my wrist to go the right way, you can basically do it in reverse order. Touch it down, press it down, lift it up in time to connect it to the branch. Okay, let's go back to the pumpkin. This is going to be a lot of back and forth. I'm going to do now kind of step it up in gradients here of oranges. So we have yellow. I'm going to put this orange kind of along the ribs. It's going to be dark over there and a little bit shadowy. And then a darker orange too, before that light color dries. Okay, and now just with water, I'm gonna do a little blending. I'm gonna let that dry just a tiny bit, and in the meantime, do the stem. Mix up a little bit of brown. I'm gonna do brown and white. And then I'm gonna do brown and yellow. And then a little bit of brown and black. Tiny bit of black. Oops, a little bit more. A little more. Okay. I'm gonna try and work fast because I still wanna add some red to these pumpkins. I'm gonna soften these edges with water real quick. I wanna add red to these pumpkins before they're totally dry. But they're still pretty wet. So, I'm gonna do this brownish, whitish, and just a tiny bit on my brush and do the left side of the stems. Trying to leave some extra brown around at the top here. Kind of help to define where these ribs come in. It's gonna be pretty dark up there. And then I'm gonna do the brown and yellow, which is just a little bit darker brown next to it and around the curve. Saving just a little bit on the far right side for black. And I'm gonna wait on the black for just a minute because this is pretty wet. So let's do this reddish orange now. And it's gonna go at the bottom in kind of U shapes, up the side, up the rib, back down, back up. And then just a little bit down from the top. And same over here. It looks so red in the palette, but now that it's on top of all these layers, the layers of yellow and orange, it's really looking like a deep, deep orange, which is what I was hoping for. Okay, I don't think we're ready for black yet. It's still pretty wet. So let's work on the flower. These two flowers here. I'm thinking actually about doing two small flowers over here and one bigger one over here. So I've got a bigger pumpkin on this side and a small one here. Or should I do the opposite? Bigger flower here and 2 smalls. Yeah, that's what I should do. It's gonna do kind of a hint at like a orangish, pinkish rose. That's my idea. So I want to make a color that is like this dark orange. So I'm going to do dark orange and red. And I'm going to make some little flower centers with this. Did I decide 2 smalls over here? Yeah. I'm going to make kind of a couple little scribbly centers. I'll do a bigger one over here. And now I'm gonna scoop some of that. I might want it for berries later. I'm gonna scoop some out and mix quite a lot of white with it. Let's see what color that is. Yeah, that's good. Kind of a pale pink. Gonna do some kind of curvy shapes around this. They're not gonna be perfect. Gonna be less of them at the top and more of them at the bottom. I'm trying not to touch that red, but I also know that it's probably going to happen. I'm just trying to surround the center, but leave the bottom heavier than the top, if that makes sense. Some thicker lines, some thinner. Now I'm gonna mix orange into that and probably a little more white. Let's see. Okay, I have that color ready, but now I'm gonna bop back over to this pumpkin and let that pink dry a little more. Okay, the black color that we made before, that was black and brown. I'm using my small brush and I'm just gonna add this color to the side of the stem and a little bit at the base of the stem. Trying to fan it towards the ribs a little bit. And then I'm gonna put it at the bottom, but I'm not really sure it's dry enough yet. Let's see. Oh yeah, just a little bit on my brush. Just gonna go around the bottom edge a little bit. I just don't want it to bleed too much into the orange. Okay, I'm gonna use the blackish brown for these little corkscrew curlies. Okay, are you still with me? This is a long one. I'm gonna do this peachy color now and just go around. Let's see what happens. trying to let it blend and also get a little bit, leave some brush strokes showing. And leave a little bit of white. I don't know, maybe this isn't a rose, maybe it's just an imaginary flower. As long as it kind of hints at a flower, that'll make me happy. Okay, I'm gonna stop with that. I'm gonna add some more, a couple more leaves, and then we'll do some branches with berries. I think that would be fun. So I'm gonna do brown leaves now. I have a couple browns. This one was brown and yellow, and this one is brown and red. I'm gonna just do brown and yellow because I don't have anything that's kind of similar to that right now in here. Squeeze some small ones in, maybe in between. Okay, let's use this blackish brown. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker for the berry branches. I wanna bring in a little bit more dark to kind of complement the black that we're using on the pumpkins. So this, I'm gonna do a real thin black line here. And over here. I have my pencil lines here, but they're pretty close to that leaf, so I'm just pulling it down a little bit. And this one, let's see, I'll just erase my pencil. I think I'll make this one a little lower. Like maybe out here. And then I want to do more berries at the top, but for that, I want to do a lighter stem. So I'm going to do this. And maybe a couple more leaves. Okay, those leaves can, I mean, those berries could be brown and these ones can be red down here. So this red was orange and red together. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do some berries all along these black stems. So I'm gonna do smaller berries at the top. Put that one right there. And then I'm gonna put the berries all along, and then I'll use that black again to connect them back to their stem. So I'm just gonna start making these little dots. Trying to make them a little bit bigger as they get down towards the bottom. Try not to make them directly across from each other. They're usually a little bit staggered in nature. Okay, we'll give that a minute to dry and then make the black stems. And now we're gonna do brown berries at the top with a few more leaves. So for these, I think I wanna do this brown and white mixture, so I'll make a little bit more. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of orange to it. Okay. Okay, so up here, just gonna do some little, let's see. Oh boy, oh gosh, oh wow. Okay, so to fix my little blubber here, getting a cleanish wet brush, just gonna drop some water on it and leave it for a minute. And then sponge usually does the job, or sometimes my thumb. Okay, I'm gonna use this other brown color to connect those to their branch. Maybe put a couple teeny leaves on there. Oh, whoops. I want this to go like this, and I wanted this to go like that. Okay, I think a few more brown leaves up here would be good. Might make these ones a little bit round at the top. That could be kind of fun. A different shape. Okay, back to the black, and then I'm gonna call it done for now. I might come back later and add little bits of light to these berries, maybe a little bit of white, but for now I think we've been working on this one for long enough. So I'm just gonna do little stems. Maybe some of these berries share a stem. Oh, it's really bleeding. Maybe they have their own stem. Anything goes. Okay, let's be done for now. If you feel like adding more leaves or more details, of course, I support you. I think I'll probably either add a little bit more dark to these berries and these leaves up here, or I'll add a little more light. We'll see how it looks when it dries. Okay, I hope you had fun.